Well, hi. Welcome to football video. My name's Theo, and I play middle linebacker for the Hilversum Hurricanes. Make sure that it always happens, because I don't need any more questions about what position do you play. Plus, it's kind of necessary for this video. As with always one of these videos, we go back to the previous videos and see if anybody has commented and what those comments are and who they are. Again, boy, you good. Love that grammar. What position do you play? Middle linebacker. The original suit-up video, I was a corner. Yeah, been over that one. Mr. Struggle. I don't know what sport he's playing, but I enjoyed this video. I'm just going to leave that comment there. I don't know what sport he's playing. What? I'm literally putting on a football helmet and shoulder pads, and I say the word football a lot, like, anyways, 20 letters, I'm not. So apparently I did a ladder drill for football players, and there's a lot of spam bots out there trying to get me to talk about a system for soccer, or football. And I'm not going to bring it up, because until they pay me, or want to pay me, I'm not talking about this system. There are 4 comments on the American football news from around the world, and none of them are from actual people. It's just 3 girls that are given more emojis than letters in their comments, so most likely spam accounts, and then someone trying to sell herbal medicine. Someone on the EU edition of my American Football Hall is de bal goed voor 12-jarigen. And I responded in Dutch as best I could, which was, zijn jeugdballen een beetje kleiner voor kinderen. We hebben 15-jarige jongen op onze team. And this is where I screwed up. I used zij gebruikt normaal bal. I should have put in, en zij gebruiken een normale bal. I know but the fact is I composed that while I was standing in the middle of an Albert Heijn is pretty amazing. Unknown user defended the fact that he wasn't gay because he loves women. I don't, like, that's his name, unknown user, but the icon is the Raiders football team. So I'm like, okay. I always worry when I have a video that talks about homosexuality and the person's first comment, well, I ain't gay. And I'm like, why do you feel that you have to say that? Like, it's sort of like being somewhere near the homo monument here in Amsterdam. And like every time you talk to someone, you have to say, no homo, but this tree looks really nice. You're like, what is the point of that? I know what the point of it is, but someone from Germany, not really related to football, but it was on my intro video that's always at the end. That is that. So, Instagram direct chats, in case you guys were ever wondering, you know, I do, oh God. Malcolm is nice and he sends me stuff, but I don't understand some memes at times. One of the older millennials out there, and he is right smack in the middle of Gen Z, and I do not get it. So anyways, he wants probably a very specific video to himself. I'm not necessarily sure, and I'm just going to put this out there, I'm not necessarily sure why he hasn't gone around the internet in and of itself and looked this up, because I went to school in college for astrophysics. I even told him, I was like, bro, I'm a nerd. But that got me thinking, because that was like Tuesday when we were talking. It got me thinking. I was like, well, I am a nerd. I do understand physics, and I've read up enough on biology. So I can talk today about how best to utilize exercises in the gym for football strength. And to be fair, it's sort of like, well, what muscles are important for linebackers? All of them. You need your neck strength, because you know, you don't want to crown bump anybody, but when you're doing this and you're wrapping them up, you know, you don't want to Get that, you want to be able to hold your neck still while you're wrapping somebody up. Like, just having neck strength is also good. Plus, you can, keep it still. I mean, you don't have to, like, do that exercise where they put the little crown on and lift a weight. You don't have to do that. But I'm just saying, like, neck muscles are necessary. I mean, maybe the squinting muscles are unnecessary. But most every muscle from here down is pretty much necessary for a linebacker. Most football players probably do utilize them all because it's a full body sport. To be fair, soccer players don't necessarily need to utilize their fingers. They don't. Not many of them are actually grabbing the ball. I know I've seen them throw it from other times, but you could literally have probably fins and do that. And, the goalies might need it, but you got a bunch of other people on the field that have no use for their fingers. But in American football, we use our fingers because we need to grab the balls. We need to grab cloth. We need to utilize fine dexterity movements. So, moving in the line of that, what do you do to strengthen your fingers? Well, you hold something that's heavy. To be fair, there is that exercise where you can do that and it protects, it strengthens this muscle, or you can, hold it this way and do that and it strengthens this. Or, as one of my old coaches said, who lifts, competitively, how do you strengthen your grip? He's like, just lift heavy things. Deadlift might help with it because you're pulling and that, but pretty much anything. Just lift heavy things. By the fact of your fingers wanting to pull out from the weight underneath your hands will strengthen your fingers. That's just what's going to happen. You do not need to, you don't need to take that little gripper thing. I mean, unless you really want to choke the crap out of your, not going down that route, but if you're into that. You got to realize, and we'll go with linebackers specifically here. You got to realize that as a middle linebacker, you're doing a lot of pushing. Because if you're blitzing, if you're hopefully blitzing, the line are doing their job and they're making a hole for you to go through, understandably. But when you detect the run and you need to go forward, you are on push thing. I talked about this yesterday at the gym with one of the guys that works there. He goes, you don't do back? I'm like, yeah, I do back. I do row and I do pull down and I do the reverse fly, but I'm in a pushing position. He's like, oh, that's true. He's trying to understand more about football, American football. So I do a lot more chest and I do incline also. So not only do you do chest press, but you also do incline, and you also want to work on your shoulders, because when you're down and you guys go up into the lineman, look at that. Yeah, your shoulders rotating up. There is a thing that Willie told me about a long time ago called a jamming machine. Now that is fairly useful. Not necessarily one of those things you need to work out on all the time. Defensive ends and nose tackles and 3 techs, all that stuff would probably do it better because they're down in a 3 or 4 point stance. So they need to push up. As a linebacker, you're probably you're in a 2 point stance and you're coming in with speed, not coming from no movement at all. But it can still help if your gym or your school happens to have something like that. Squats are helpful. Just in general, it's football. You need to use your legs, especially when you get low. Your squat can, when you finally grab somebody, especially here's the thing, this, when you do the chest fly, that's also a good thing, because that way, especially if you work with quick movement, not too fast. I mean, obviously, if you had actual weights on it, not your own hands, you'd want to you don't want to a quick up and then a slow down, because wrapping up, that's kind of a thing, and I've seen a lot of people screw up on it. When you wrap around someone and they're trying to get out, if you have much more resistance to having your arm pulled out to the side, or if you're way out here, you can pull someone in from way out there. Again, using your fingers, you could pull someone in if you have much more strength doing this. This is a bit different. This is the difference. So make sure to work your chest fly because you're going to wrap somebody up. And if you can hold on to them like a freaking gator, roll them. I did that one to Danny a couple of years ago, and I still kind of remember it. I like it. It was one of those weird times when two guys found immense amount of respect for each other. We weren't even in pads, too. I just was so pissed. But yeah, another thing, something that you guys probably might see ladies do because they're trying to work on the beauty so they can take good Instagram pictures without having to use a filter or Photoshop or pretty much anything to make themselves look like they actually, work out. But yeah, is a glute bridge. I did that yesterday at the gym. You just look it up. Here's the word for it in case you don't know. It's basically you just like you put your shoulders on a bench and you take a barbell. You can use the long one or the small one, but realize that they weigh different. And pack weights on it regularly. And then if you're chunky, maybe you can get away with this one, but I always need one of those little pads because it's going to dig into my hip. And you put it right there. You put it right along here underneath your belly. You're basically sitting on the ground and with your back of your shoulders here on a bench that's hopefully nailed down or something has a lot of resistance to it. Usually we have something in the gym that has a little platform and then curves up to a pad so you can work that way. And basically what you're doing is here's your body, here's your legs in that thing. And all you're doing is you're bridging. You're taking that weight and you're squeezing your butt cheeks and you're pushing that thing up to the sky. Now, you can actually work some abs with this one too. If you bridge and hold for a second, because you got to realize you're holding probably 45 pounds plus you're holding 135 pounds or 60 kilos in like a reverse plank. So you do actually work on some stuff and then you put it back down. Do you want to work on your core? Always work your core. I don't necessarily know if you need to need to work your calves. I do not work my calves specifically because I walk up a lot of stairs, and the stairs here in Amsterdam are very narrow. So I'm always utilizing the front of my foot to get up these stairs, which means I'm always putting my calves under work, going up 8 flights of stairs. Or I'm on my bike pushing and I put the pedal on my toes, not on my heel, so so my calf is constantly being worked while I'm riding a bike. Just how things go. But yeah, so in summation, I would say work on a glute bridge because that'll still help. Like when you get low and you get under someone and you want to push them up in alignment, if you have much more in your glute, because yeah, your quads work. And you can isolate your quads and you can isolate your hamstrings and you can do your squats and you can do your walking lunges, but there's a lot of guys that don't do a glute bridge. I'll put a link up here so you guys can see what a glute bridge is because I don't really have the space to do it. Those are just some easy exercises, muscle strength training exercises, because I'm not sure what's going on with the global health crisis in your specific area. Gyms are open here in Amsterdam, actually in the Netherlands, and much of Europe, but each country still in and of itself. I don't know how England is doing, and it's so hard to keep track of the states considering each state has its own rules and regulations. So if you have any questions about how to do some of these things at home, I can figure something out. But again, if you don't have a barbell and weights, it's kind of hard to do a glute bridge. Unless you have like somebody who will sit on your lap. Anyways, I will chat with you guys later. Remember, comment below any questions about football or this video or other things. You can even ask my position, that I'm a middle linebacker, or you can ask if I'm gay because I don't have a double bed I share with a guy. Like, come on.